Hey, in today's lesson, I'm going to teach you how to master English vocabulary in only 3 simple steps. I know. Are you ready? Here we go. I'm teacher Tiffany. Let's jump right in. Now, step number one. Step number one is to find words that have similar meanings. Let me explain why this is so important. You see, the first step is to find words that mean the same as the main word you are studying. By doing this, you will create extra triggers in your brain and automatically increase the number of vocabulary words that you know. For example, I want us to do this together very quickly, and then we'll go over the different parts. So I want you to think about the word good. All right? You know the word good. Maybe you have good food or good friends, right? What's another word for good? Maybe you would say amazing. This is a word that has a similar meaning. Remember, step one is to find words that have similar meanings. Or what about awesome? Again, words that have similar meanings. Or what about instead of awesome, we might say nice. Again, 3 words that have similar meanings to or with the main word. Makes sense, right? This is what we're trying to do. So again, step 1, find words that have similar meanings. So again, how do you do this? First, find 3 words that have the same meaning as your main word. Second, write the words down in your notebook next to the main word. Remember, we're trying to master English vocabulary. And finally, memorize the 3 words. Find 3 words, write the words down in your notebook, and memorize the words. We're creating these triggers in your brain. So let's check out this example. The main word is round, right? Round. 3 words that have similar meanings: circular, spherical, and globular. Circular, spherical, and globular. Now, let me show you exactly what's happening in your brain when you do this. So, again, the main word is round, all right? We have the main word being round, all right? So we have this in your brain, all right? I want you to imagine this is your brain. And now we're adding 3 words that have similar meanings. Let's change the color. So we have circular. Again, similar meaning. We have spherical, and then we also have globular. So what's going to happen? The next time you hear the word round, you're immediately going to also think of the word circular, and then spherical, and also globular. 3 words that have similar meanings. So what's happening? Instead of now only learning 1 word, now you know 4 vocabulary words. Remember, we're talking about mastering English vocabulary. Makes sense, right? Step number 1, once again, find words that have similar meanings. Now, let's go to step number 2. Step number 2 is also important. Step number 2 is select words that start with the same letter. Select words that start with the same letter. Let's say, for example, before we jump to breaking this down, let's say, for example, we have a different word. No, let's choose the same word, the word round. Now, the first letter of the word round is R. So step 2 is just to pick 3 words that have the same letter, that start with the same letter. So we can pick any words. Let's say right. Then we can pick Rambo or no, let's do this one. Rampant. Here we go. I have another one. Rampant. And then again, starting with the letter R. Rough. So we have 3 different words, but each word starts with the letter R. Again, this is step 2. Again, select words that start with the same letter. So let's explain this really quickly. The second step is to select words that start with the same letter as the main word you are studying. This will help you focus on groups of words and not just one word that you started with at the beginning. Not just that one word. Again, we're on step number 2. So how can you do this? Let's check this out really quickly. All right. So first, part 1, select 3 words that start with the same letter as your main word. Part 2, write the words and their definitions down in your notebook next to the main word. So now you see for step 2, we're writing down definitions. But remember, this is the way to master English vocabulary. And part 3, memorize the 3 words. That's right, memorize the 3 words. So let's check this out really quickly. How can we do this in real life? All right, so I'm going to show you this example and then we'll go to the whiteboard. Here we go. Here's the example. The word is round, and we're going to pick 3 different words that start with the letter R. We have rough, roll, and random. Rough, roll, and random. So in your journal, you have the word round, okay? This is the main word. Then again, looking at the first letter being R. So what is the first word? We have the first word being rough. Then the next word, again, we have is roll. Again, remember, we're just using the words that we have right here. Rough, roll, and random. All right. And the final word being random. So what's the connection? The connection is the first letter, R. That's how we got each of the words that we have written. Here we go. In our notebook, right? We have rough, roll, and random. Now, remember, the next step we have to do is write the definition of each word. This is, again, studying in groups. So, what is the definition of the first word? Rough means not even or smooth, often because of being in bad condition. So, not even or smooth. Let's write that right next to the word. So again, rough means not even or smooth. You're writing this in your journal. Again, we're mastering English vocabulary. Remember, the main word we started with was round, but now we have rough, not even or smooth. Well, what about the next word? What does roll mean? Roll means to cause something to move somewhere by turning over and over or from side to side. So let's just write this down again in our notebook. To cause something to move somewhere by turning over and over. Let's write the short version. All right? To cause something to move, right? To cause something to move. Remember, we have the definition right here. One more time. To cause something to move somewhere by turning over and over, all right? Move somewhere, I want you to write this down as well, by turning over and over. By turning over and over. Remember, what we're doing is we are creating these groups of words in our brain, helping you master English vocabulary. Now, the last word is random. So what does random mean? Remember, we're on step 2, selecting words that start with the same letter. Random means happening, done, or chosen by chance rather than according to a plan. Happening by chance. So let's write that down. Again, random just means, I'm going to put it down here, happening by chance. Just writing the shortened version. Happening by chance. So again, what has happened? Now we have three different words. We started off with round, but now we have rough, roll, and random. We also have the definition of each word. Again, happening by chance for random, roll to cause something to move somewhere by turning over and over, and rough, not even or smooth. So according to step 2, select words that start with the same letter. Again, select words that start with the same letter. So we've accomplished step number 2. Step number 1, words that have the same meaning. Step number 2, words that start with a similar letter. Let me show you something very quickly. Step 1, remember in step 1, we learned words that started with or had the same meaning. Do you remember them? Circular, spherical, and globular. You remember them, right? Because in your brain, there's a trigger now. So here we go. Let's go to step number 3. Step number 3. We got the example. Don't look. Here we go. Step number 3. Search for words with the same sound. Again, search for words with the same sound. So up until this point, we've been looking at the word round. So for example, let's say we're looking for words with the same sound. We have round, and we'll go into more detail, but round. For example, we have the word sound. Same sound, right? Round, we have mound. And then we also have pound, right? Now, I'm able to do this quickly because I've practiced for a long time, but you'll also be able to do this. So, for example, same sound, we have ound, 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 round, sound, mound, pound. What are we doing? According to step 3, searching for words with the same sound. So here's the explanation. The third step is to search for words that have the same sound as the main word you are studying. By doing this, you will focus on the sounds of words and create audible triggers in your brain as you continue learning more vocabulary words. Remember, we're talking about mastering English vocabulary. And the third step is focusing on sound. So how can you do this? Part 1, search for 3 words that have the same sound as your main word. Step 2, or part 2, write the words and their definitions down in your notebook next to the main word. And we're going to do this together. And part 3, memorize the 3 words. This is so important. So let's check out the example for step number 3. Round. Remember, we started off with our words. So let's go back to our notebooks. The word is round, and 3 words that have similar sounds: around, astound, and bound. So let's write it together. Again, the main word, round. This is our main word. The first example word that has the same sound, all right? The first example word is around, right? Around. The second example word, remember, is astound, all right? Astound. Let's write that down. Astound, all right? Remember, we're following step number 3. And finally, bound, all right? These words sound similar to the word round, right? We have the O-U-N-D sound, ound, 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 right? Now remember, after we have the 3 words, what do we need to do next? We need to make sure we have the definition. So, what do these words mean? Around, it means in a position or direction surrounding, or in a direction going along the edge or from one part to another. So what we're going to say is surrounding or going along the edge, all right? Just to write it short, surrounding or going along the edge. So let's write the definition: surrounding or going along the edge, all right? Surrounding or going along the edge. Going along the edge. Again, we're writing the definition of each word, right? Okay, what about astound? What does astound mean? Astound means to surprise or shock someone very much. To surprise or shock someone very much. Here we go. To surprise or shock someone very much. Remember, we're getting the definition. Someone very much. All right, we're creating these groups of words. All right, very much. And then finally, what about this word, bound? What does it mean? It just means tied with rope, cord, string, etc. Tied with rope, string, or cord, etc. So, tied with rope, cords, or strings, etc. So now we have, again, 3 more words connected to our main word because they sound similar to the word. Round, around, astound, bound. You see what happened, right? Again, according to step 3. So now I want you to realize something. We follow the 3 steps, right? Following the 3 steps, we now have multiple words that we know in English. So remember, we started with round. The first thing we did, what did we do? We found words that had similar meanings. Then step number 2. For step number 2, we looked at different examples and we learned that there are 3 words that start with the same letter: rough, roll, and random. And finally, for step number 3, we looked at different examples and these examples had a similar sound, right? A similar sound. So for step number 3, we had astound, around, and bound. When you follow these 3 steps, your vocabulary will go like this. You'll start mastering English vocabulary because you're going to start studying in a different way. I hope you enjoyed the lesson today, and I will talk to you next time. But don't forget, if you want to keep studying with me, don't forget to join us. The free English newsletter, go to speakenglishwithtiffany.com/newsletter. Every week, 3 times a week, I send out English tips and resources and tools that will help you achieve your English goals. Don't miss out. I'll talk to you in the next lesson. You still there? You know what time it is. It's story time. Hey, I said it's story time. All right. Today's story is about being motivated and the power of a good mentor. So, you know that I love exercising. I love sports. I was the most athletic female in elementary school, middle school, high school, and college. Yes. All my life, I have loved sports. I've loved exercising, right? My favorite sport happens to be basketball. I played it all throughout school. But I remember this one time when I was in college, there was a specific evening that we were practicing, and I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't as confident with my dribble, with my passes, and the coach started yelling at me because he couldn't understand what was happening. And the practice really wasn't going that well, and I was starting to feel bad. And you know how sometimes when you're not confident in what you're doing, like when you're studying English or speaking English sometimes, you start to say things to yourself like, man, you're not that good. Man, you got to work on that. And I started to talk to myself, and I really wasn't feeling good. But then all of a sudden, I heard the door open behind me, the door to the gym. We were all practicing, but I happened to turn around, and randomly, the man that coached me when I was about 15 years old, Mr. Rayford, if he ever watches this, he walked through the door of the gym of my college. He wasn't from Alabama, which is where I went to school, but he just happened to walk into the gym. He didn't say anything. He walked in and he sat on the bleachers. From that moment, my dribble improved. My shot improved. My passes improved. Everything improved so much that the coach stopped and said, "Tiff, what just happened?" My coach recognized that my game immediately improved. I said, oh, I guess I just, got more confident. I didn't tell him that it was because one of my favorite coaches walked in the gym. I didn't tell him that what was happening inside was all of a sudden, because my previous coach walked in, I started being more confident in myself. Why is this so important? When you have a mentor, when you have a coach, when you have someone that believes in you, it causes you and it will help you be more confident in yourself. I'm your teacher. I'm your coach. I'm your mentor. And I believe in you. I believe that you can achieve your English goals. I believe that you'll be able to master English vocabulary. I believe that you can speak English with confidence. So never forget that. Never forget that me, Teacher Tiffani, I believe in you. You can do anything you put your mind to. And I believe that you will achieve each and every one of your English goals. I'll talk to you in the next lesson.